so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take about a minute and a half to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm sincerely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and grandest version of themselves. So if you've been looking for a way to easily get organic superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, like I was doing before I found Purium, I highly recommend going to positivehead.com/transformation and checking out the videos and interviews there where I dive deeply into discussions explaining why I take these products every day. And should you ultimately end up on iShopPurium.com to purchase any of their 50 plus amazing superfood products, be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for a 25% discount. All right, all you positive heads, here we grow again. It is a magical Monday here in the studio, and I am happy to report I am not flying solo. I have the lovely Sonya Sophia here with me. Sonya, hello, hello.
Hi, Brandon. I'm so happy to be back with you.
Oh, me too. I love it when you fly in, you swoop in for some lovely goddess, divine goddess energy to start off my week. This is, it's always a pleasure. So thank you for taking the time to continually visit.
You're welcome. I deeply appreciate the opportunity to serve. It makes my heart so happy to be useful in this world.
Yeah, that is the thing, is finding a way to serve in some capacity is sort of the magic arrow to happiness, I would say. It's like, like I always quote Gandhi. He said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. Mm-hmm. And I like to add to that, the reason that applies is because there are no others. So once you sort of like tie those things together, it all sort of makes sense, right?
Right. I was at a static dance, which is part of my spiritual practice that I do on Sundays. And for all y'all out there, if you haven't tried a static dance, Google your local ecstatic dance community and go take a spin. It's a beautiful way to connect with yourself and free up emotions and move energy and learn. And one thing I learned in dance this week was how the balance right now for so many of us is to learn how to serve others, and then also learn how to take care of ourselves in that process, and to go back and forth about, am I taking care of me, and how does this serve the world? And that you're constantly kind of asking yourself these questions so that you don't careen off into self-centeredness and just me against the world, I'm taking care of me, or I only think about other people and then end up in this kind of a codependent, resentful, burnt out stage. That it's really, self and others, as you said, we're all one, and I'm a part of the collective, and the collective is a part of me. And so looking back and forth in self-care and service, I think, is really key to keeping it together and staying happy and enthusiastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And the art of living is sort of finding that balance between serving others, and obviously you can't. You're not going to do anyone any good if your cup is empty and you're trying to pour from it, right? It doesn't make for a very good tea party. And and so that's like so super important. I think a lot of us swing between that, trying to people please too much, or the other end of the spectrum. And it's really about finding that balance and knowing when you need to take time to yourself, and all of those things is. That's the dance. That's the ecstatic dance.
Right. And it's so important in relationships. And, in contemplating what to bring to the table today, I was thinking about how important that dynamic is in our relationships, and how not getting that balance right can really create relationship issues, including be the crux of what a breakup is related to. That in the relationship, one or both partners didn't really know how to do one or both sides of those two points.
Yeah, that's a big one with relationships, is a lot of times it will end up being out of balance, where one is sort of putting in more effort than the other, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, or that one person is people-pleasing, as you would say, where it's like, I've lost myself in the relationship. I only think about the other person and what makes them happy and what they need. And then at some point, there can be this abrupt, I've lost myself, or I need to go take care of me now, goodbye. And it can be very disruptive, saying, oh my gosh, I thought that we were happy. This other person who's been thinking maybe primarily about themselves, doesn't see it coming. And even if you're trying to take care of each other and you're both not really honest about taking care of yourselves, it can still crash and burn. So I, recently went through a relationship cycle with someone and found that dynamic to be a little bit out of whack. And that's part of what I wanted to talk about today, is how we heal our hearts after a relationship.
Yeah, that's always relevant, I think, because even if someone's just been through a relationship or it's something, a past, even years back, where there's still like cords of connectivity or hurt that's there, that I think a lot of times people just sort of stuff down and try and find a way to just live with, as opposed to fully processing it. Maybe you didn't have the opportunity for closure that you'd like, or ended in some way that was shocking to you, and where there was infidelity or what have you. And so then people sort of have these wounds, and they just go about their lives, whether they're fresh or whether it's old. It's I think almost everyone has that experience in their repertoire of experiences, right?
Right. And we learn a lot through that experience. The question is, what are you learning? The natural tendency is to withdraw our hearts, to close our hearts, to protect our hearts, to build a wall or a cage around our hearts, and saying, well, I'm just going to love a little bit smaller and a little bit less and a little less frequently. And for me, that choice came up, and it's like, well, I could decide never to, trust or love, but then again, what is a heart for? Like, the risk of loving is, yes, I might get hurt, and but how do you repair that hurt, and what do you take from it? And for me, slowing down that process of wanting to clamp down and keep love away has really given me some very fresh insights into tips and tricks to be able to process deeply and rapidly, to be able to grow your heart larger as a result, to take the wisdom in, to be able to recalibrate for a more successful, happier relationship experience in the future, and hopefully one that's very sustainable. So I wanted to share some things that I learned recently from my foray into love.
Yeah, I love that. And it's, it makes me think of a Bob Marley quote. He said, "The truth is everyone is going to hurt you. You just got to find the ones worth suffering for." And I mean, that's a little like intense. And, I think the way he's meaning it, though, is like love is going to sting at times. It's just sort of inevitable. And what I think so many people do is they get stung and they're so sensitive, and then they're so hurt, and they like you said, they start closing their heart down. And meanwhile, the only path is to truly having the life and the love that you want to experience is being willing. I always say you got to be willing for your heart to be broken 100 times if it takes that 101st time to get to that experience that you really have dreamed of as your, sort of next level partnership, perhaps, or partnership. And it's just everything. It's like the book, The Untethered Soul, by Michael Singer, that I've been talking about lately. It's all a big part of the book. Is the most important thing is always leaving your heart open, no matter what the interaction is that's going on. As soon as you close your heart, you're cut off, and that chi energy, that life force is not flowing through you. And meanwhile, if you can train yourself to leave your heart open, no matter what happens, you become sort of a fountain where getting back to even serving others, and now you're overflowing. There's so much flowing through you, as opposed to constantly opening and shutting our hearts based off of, external circumstances.
That's true. And I think that's a really tricky thing for people to do.
For sure.
I know that for me, even though I spend so much time working on myself, and I've been doing EFT for maybe 13 years, maybe 14 now. For me, I haven't mastered the art of keeping my heart open permanently, but I have mastered the art of only closing it for a few minutes.
Right.
Or a couple of hours. Right. Sort of. So it's like, if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's mostly open 90% of the time, 98% of the time. But there are these moments where the heart spasms. Yep. And I think we have to allow ourselves to do that. But it's just, how long do you stay shut? I don't want to keep my heart shut down for weeks or months or years.
Some people, that's exactly what ends up happening, right? They get, their heart is broken, and then they say, that's it, I'm not taking that risk again, put up the walls, put up the fortress, as the fortress around my heart, as Sting would say in his song that I love. And it's like, once you've done that and then you just dig in, it's like, okay, you're safe, but no one is getting in, and really, that's the ultimate risk.
No one's getting out.
No one's getting out. And now that's really the ultimate hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing that I learned recently, so I went to just take some really, really great care of myself. And this dissolution was very consensual. It was time. It was done with love and respect. It wasn't done in some ugly, mean way. And at the same time, it still really hurt, because all of these future dreams and what we were going to do and how we were going to build a life together, all of that had to die. And there had to be a huge pause of just like, we're just going to regroup as two people, living their lives on the earth, and eventually find our way into an authentic friendship. There has to be this big pause. And during that pause, one of the things I did to help myself grow was I did some plant medicine and took a little journey to a retreat where that was the focus, and went down to Colombia to work with an American shaman who was down there holding space. And so I went, and in one of these ceremonies, I got this incredible download that I wanted to share with you. As a matter of fact, this medicine was like, now I'm telling you, now you need to go tell the people. So this is part of my follow through of that.
Okay. Using plant medicine as a means and tool to sort of, especially at a point, I thinking back after my last relationship, I did a, ayahuasca journey and definitely got a lot of insight. And, for those of you who are curious about this or this topic, of course, I've talked about it here and there throughout the years on this show. But going back to one of my very first episodes, episode number 6 with Pablo Miller, where we talk all about, sort of the, plant medicine, the difference between, entheogens and, maybe more like hallucinogenic drugs, right? As some would refer to them. And so certainly a powerful, powerful tool, one path to sort of getting insight into, healing in the psyche and whatnot. And so, I love the fact that you're willing to share that sort of experience on the show, because I've always been very open and forthright about, it's been a while since I've taken a journey like that, but I know a lot of the listeners are curious about it. So, I'm curious to hear what was given to you.
Great. Well, what was given to me in that beautiful mother medicine was this deep, deep impression. Actually, these words came to me. It said, love is forgiving and your heart is for keeping. You shall never give your heart to another human being again. And I was just like, what?
Wow, because suddenly, that's profound.
All my ideas of romance, all the love songs, all the Valentine's Day cards, all the ways that books and movies portray giving our hearts away, sort of it all bubbled up inside me. And as that purged out of my body, I got this clarity. And the voice went on to say, the reason why you and others want to give their hearts to someone else is that you project onto your heart that it's the source of your pain. It is not the source of your pain. It's the source of love. Your heart generates love and it receives love. And you need your heart to stay in your chest to be able to actually experience love. And I just felt my sweet little heart that at this time was just sort of laying on my chest energetically instead of like deeply embedded. It was laying on my chest, having freshly returned from where I had given it away in my relationship. And it was waiting like a little butterfly to fly to someone else. To give my heart was the same as to give my love. And in that moment, I just sort of stitched it back into my chest.
Wow.
And was like, okay, you live here. And as I made that choice, Spirit said to me, now you will be able to love much more profoundly and much more durably, sort of for the long haul. And that sense of not putting my center outside of myself when I fall in love, but to really say, I give you my love, not my heart. My heart is mine. Yeah. I need my heart to stay connected to myself and to connected to source.
Right. Wow. That's a profound insight that you received there. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Spirit said, go tell all the women in particular, because I think women do it possibly more than men, but men do it as well. We want to give our hearts to someone else. And if anyone's ever done that to you, there's this sense of, here, have my heart, and the person receiving it is like,
what do I do with this?
Yeah. And they're like, now don't drop it, don't break it, but take it everywhere you go with you.
Yeah.
It's like, just hesitating, like, oh gosh, this is too much responsibility. Whereas if I give my love, that feels yummy. Yeah.
I love that. That's such wonderful clarity. I absolutely love that.
Well, thank you. So that was one thing that I learned from my recent breakup and how I will be loving in the future. And it just feels more sustainable. The other So I think that also helps with those old cords that you were talking about, Brandon, where people are still feeling attached, where they're feeling, it's like an energetic pull towards somebody, or this waiting for them to come back, or waiting for an apology, or waiting for them to see what they've missed in this opportunity with you. And I know that when I took my energetic heart and put it back inside me, and really owned it, there's this sort of reclamation where whatever my heart was attached to can relax, and it just sort of fades off. It kind of, if I really take that energy back into me, then it's all me and it's not attached to others.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, absolutely it does.
It's saying, I'm going to take back what is mine and let go of what isn't mine anymore. And all that isn't me gets to go back to where it needs to go. And what is me gets to come back to me.
Yeah, it's like really grounded in your center and living like you said, sort of putting the heart deep inside of you where it belongs. And then everything radiates out from there, as opposed to it being on a string that is floating out there somewhere, like a balloon, right?
Yeah. Or like a fishing hook, a fishing lure. Like, who wants this? Come take a nibble. I'll reel you in, Yeah,
exactly.
It's more of an emanation. And I think that is a very attractive place to come from, where we're like little suns, we're emanating warmth, we're emanating love, and we stay centered in our own lives while caring for other people and interacting with other people, but staying intact as far as like, what path am I on? What practices do I do? What kind of food do I eat? I noticed in my last relationship, I let go of some of the things that were important to me because of his preferences or his pace or his timing, and coming back into myself, regrouping with, it could be everything from foods that I have in the refrigerator to practices I do at certain times during the week that are really stabilizing points.
Right.
And I think a lot of us let go of ourselves in relationship, especially at first, because we're just lost in that sort of influx of joy and beauty. And so just giving myself that love again. I also wanted to talk about the importance of, if you're going through a breakup or you're still recovering from one, simple basic things like hydration, drinking electrolytes to get your vitality, your energy circuit back up. There's a brand I really like. Can I mention a brand?
Sure.
Okay. It's called Inner C, ENER-C. It's not Emergency. It's a group of people from that company left and started a new company. It's got a lot less sugar in it. And if you want your body to be more conductive electrically, and you want to stay hydrated, I noticed that I don't have to drink my 12 glasses of water a day. I can drink maybe 4 to 5 to 6 glasses of water if I drink some of this. It really puts more electricity and minerals back in the body, and that helps with a sense of depletion.
Interesting.
Especially if you've been crying a lot, which we tend to do at the beginning of a breakup.
Right.
Exercise is vital. It's the opposite of what the body wants to do. During a breakup, we want to hibernate. We want to curl up in bed. We want to curl up with a beer or a bong or Netflix binge watching, whatever, ice cream. And what I had to force myself to do was commit to doing exercise at least twice a week. Even though it felt like I was, death warmed over, dragging myself to whatever event and was sort of out of presence, out of phase with the situation, it still really, really helps. And 20 minutes a day is like taking an antidepressant. So it could be walking around the neighborhood with a friend. Could be going to a little local yoga class or a Pilates class, but get your exercise in. Don't let yourself go into entropy.
Yeah. That's definitely good advice. Now, for those who aren't aware, I mean, you've been on the show periodically for years now, but this could be some folks, first time hearing you. So maybe you can tell a little bit about, EFT, which you've mentioned, tapping, and also, were you wanting to do a little tap around the subject today?
I'm always up for a tap.
Oh, perfect.
So good. Yeah. Well, EFT, I have to say, is a life-saving tool for the times. It's a way to rapidly process and integrate whatever's happening in your life. For example, as I was getting these downloads through this medicine ceremony, I used EFT to help me integrate in real time so that I could take that information in and then act on it, right? Because information without action is kind of useless.
Right.
So, and it's also a great way to process emotional pain, stress, anxiety, fears, phobias, memories. So for those of you who are still like recovering your hearts from the past, it's an excellent tool to do that. And the way you do it is that you take your fingers and you gently tap on certain acupuncture meridians while talking to yourself about whatever that stressful situation was. And you're going to include the real feelings that you have. This is not the like woo-woo sugar-coated, all nice and fluffy, only positive. You actually have to be a positive head, you have to admit where your negative head is at,
Yes, indeed.
And when you do that, you're finding the files, the information, the way it's actually stored in your psyche and in your body. And you're bringing empathy and awareness and acceptance to it. And when empathy or love touches those files, they change. And that pain and that sadness, that anxiety, that grief, the anger, it comes out of your body in sometimes very interesting ways. So as you're tapping and talking to yourself and you're bringing love and awareness to your actual experience, you might find yourself yawning profusely, burping, laughing, crying, tingles of energy, suddenly feeling very, very aligned and clear. You might find yourself feeling very, very sleepy and kind of semi-psychedelic. There's a lot of different ways people process, but what it does is it fast forwards through accumulated stress and trauma in the nervous system. It takes it out of the neural networks and the cells, and it changes the way your genes express, which so this is a very deep subject, meaning that if your mom, for example, had a terrible heartbreak in a relationship, let's say that they got divorced around, right before you were born, that information can be locked into you as an infant, and you might have a fear of marriage that you don't even understand because it maybe wasn't even talked about, but you grow up with this like trauma around commitment or partnership. That kind of stuff can come out of your body with EFT as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They've done studies with I just was hearing this. They've done studies with cats where they took the cat and they gave, two different cats different food, and that caused, some that was healthier for them and some that was not. And they started towards the, later after years, the cat started showing issues from the food. Then their offspring sort of carried that forward, but it came sooner for them. And then in over a few generations, it's like these issues they would be born with them. So this is something that's now been documented, that we actually are, passing through the DNA, these things in a very short time. Yeah, genetic memory in very short time. And of course, that's, having Dr. Bruce Lipton on a while back, who wrote The Biology of Belief. He talks about this very thing is turning genes on and off based off of beliefs and external stimuli. And, essentially what tapping is doing is it's now releasing and telling a new story around some of these issues, which can cause different genes to now, that are healthier for you to be flipped. And that's a fascinating thing to realize, that we have the power to influence our genes, because, for so long, I remember as a kid, I always heard, and I'm sure many of you listening, it's in your genes, it's in your genes. That's just, you're going to get this thing because your parents did or whatnot. And actually what all the studies show now is we can we can change it. And this is just a way. There's a way to do it.
Yep. And Bruce is a super fan of EFT.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Right, because, it's a way to rewrite the pre-recorded information in your body. And of course, if you're going to rewrite anything, the first thing you have to do is read it. So you Google the information within, you read the files that are there where you're acknowledging how you really feel and what these limiting beliefs are and what your fears are and what your memory consists of. And then that erases it because all it's waiting for is love. You give it love and attention. It comes clean. And then you can rewrite whatever it is that you'd prefer to experience. And your body assumes the new program and allows you to progress forward.
Right. Well, let's do a little tap then, shall we?
I'm very excited. Yes. So now you get to have an experience. So everyone listening, if you have any kind of relationship debris to clean up, this is that moment to dig in. Spring cleaning for the heart. And we're going to take 2 hands. One hand also works if you can only do it with one hand. You're going to find your collarbones on the front of the chest and drop down to the front of the chest, gently pressing until you find a sore spot in the upper pectoral region or the upper breast tissue. And give it a light massage and take a few deep breaths. With that breath, you want to let out an audible sigh. Let that energy come out of your mouth. Okay, beautiful. Now we're going to focus our attention on a piece of your story that's still not feeling completely clear around heartbreak or relationship trauma. So when I say this issue, that's what you're going to think about, okay? You're going to personalize this for yourself so it goes in and really does the job. All right, so massaging the front of the chest, repeating after me. Even though I still have this issue about, and then say what that is. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Big, deep, noisy breath. Beautiful. Now you're going to tap the eyebrows. Even though I still have this issue, tapping right at the beginning of the eyebrows where they first start to get fuzzy, gently tapping with 1 or 2 fingers, sliding down the eyebrows to the edge of the eye socket right at the temple, gently tapping there. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though I still feel, and then say the first thought that pops into your head about the issue you're talking about. For example, I still feel angry about my breakup with so-and-so. Big, deep breath. And tapping the front of the cheeks. And let's just stick with anger for a second. And if you don't feel angry and you want to say sad, you say sad. Or maybe you still feel like you're in shock. Whatever it is, you fill in the blank there. I'm going to say angry because I think a lot of people feel that for a long time. Tapping under the nose. This feeling of anger. And tapping under the lips, on the chin. Part of me still holds this feeling of anger in my heart. And tapping with 1 or 2 hands around the front of the chest. Big deep breath. This anger in my body. About my relationship with, and then say the name of your former partner. And breathe. When you feel that little trigger when you say their name, that tells you that there's still energy to process here. Tapping the front of the ribs, this anger in my body, and tuning in and see where that feeling lives inside you. Maybe you feel it in your heart, maybe you feel it in your guts, maybe you feel it in your genitals. Big deep breath. Okay, tapping the side of the ribs. So you're going to find this point by either crossing your arms like you're hugging yourself, but kind of high up. So it's nipple height, side seam of the body. If you were wearing a bra, it's where your bra strap would be. Or you can put your arms out to the side and tap with the back of your knuckles under your arms. Big deep breath. Tuning into where are you storing this excess energy in your body about your ex. Tapping the inside of the wrist. So flipping your palm up towards the sky, tapping the inside of the wrist right across the wristband there. Big deep breath. I love and respect myself, even if part of me feels like I'm never gonna get over this. Now put your hand like you're gonna karate chop something, tapping the presenting top edge of your thumb right at the side of the thumbnail. Part of me feels like I'm never going to get over this. Not completely. Big deep breath. And hopefully you're repeating these statements after me. If I didn't make that clear, let's begin now. So say it out loud because that helps pull that information out of your subconscious into present conscious reality so that you can work with it. Tap your index finger. This part of me that still feels damaged. Big deep breath. And when you say this part of me that still feels damaged, what you're doing is keying in a search function like you were Googling, this part of me that still feels damaged. Click. And all of that information comes to the forefront. Every circuit in your body that's still carrying stress or sadness or pain is now being referenced. Tap the middle finger. This part of me that still feels damaged from my relationship with, and then say that person's name again. And breathe. And this relationship tap can be used for people that you didn't have a sexual relationship with as well. It could be for a family member or a friend. All right, tapping the bottom edge of the fourth finger. So you're going to, if you look at your hand and spread your fingers apart, the fourth finger on the side that's closest to your little finger, you're going to tap the bottom of the ring finger at the side of the fingernail. It's the only point that flips to the other side. Big deep breath again. This part of me that still feels damaged from my relationship with, and say their name one more time. Oh, there you go. Tapping the original inside edge of the pinky. If you spread your fingers and your hands in the karate chop position, you'll look down and see that top presenting edge of your little finger right at the side of the fingernail. Now, each of these points that we're tapping stimulates a different function in the body. The little finger is actually a heart point. Now we're going to tap the bottom edge of the hand. So if you were going to make a karate chop, that karate chop would land at the side of your hand. Tap there. Big deep breath. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even if I still have a lot of pain, anger, grief left over from this relationship with, and then say whatever that person's name is again. And breathe. I'm tapping the top of the head. I accept the part of my heart that vowed never to love again. Ooh, tapping all over the skull, the sides of the head, the back of the head. I accept this hurt part of my heart. So tuning in again about that barrier or that lockdown that you place to protect yourself in your heart. We're just going to notice where it is, how it feels. Tapping the eyebrows. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but just humor me and let's go there. We're going to allow ourselves to keep this part of ourselves shut down for as long as we want. And when you give yourself permission, I want you to see what happens. Tapping the eyebrows. I give myself permission to keep my heart shut down and locked up for as long as it's working well for me. Big deep breath, tapping the eyebrows. Sliding down the eyebrows to the temple, I give myself permission to keep my heart locked up, shut down, and protected for as long as that works well for me. Big, deep breath. Big, noisy sigh. And tapping the front of the cheekbones. I accept the part of me that feels that it's necessary to protect myself this way. Just giving yourself some empathy. It's a totally natural thing to do. I got hurt. I'm going to be really careful. Tapping under the nose. Part of me is afraid of ever feeling that kind of pain again. Big, deep breath. Giving yourself so much love and empathy for how painful that disruption in relationship felt. Tapping under the lips. I had my heart set on, and then say what your heart was set on. For example, being with that person forever, getting married and having kids, or moving to the country and building a house, whatever it was that you were going to do with that person in your mind. Say it again. I had my heart set on. Keep tapping down to your chest. Okay, a lot of times it's our dreams that are hurting the most about letting go. We built a future out, right, in our heads. Tapping the front of the ribs. I love and accept myself, even if a part of me still wants to hold on to these dreams. Tap the side of the ribs. A part of me is having a hard time letting go. Big, noisy breath. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to the possibility of taking my heart back, putting it back in my chest, taking good care of my heart. Let's say that again. Tapping the inside of the wrist again. Here we go. I'm open to the possibility of taking my heart back. I'm allowing love to exist if love wants to exist here, but I'm taking my heart back. Tapping the side of the thumb. It's okay to take my heart back and everything that is me and mine. Just energetically pulling what is actually you and yours back into yourself. I'm recentering myself and letting go of what is not me or mine. Tapping the index finger, let's say that again. I'm recentering myself and letting go of what is not me and what is not mine. Big soft breath. And tap the middle finger. I'm open to forgiving myself for having to learn about life and love this way. Huge compassion for ourselves. I'm open to forgiving myself for having to learn about life and love this way. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. It's safe for me to heal what happened now. Big, soft, noisy breath. It's safe for me to heal what happened. To learn and to grow. Tap your little finger. It's possible my heart is becoming stronger and more capable as a result of connecting in the way that I did. Big, noisy breath again. And tapping the side of the hand. It's possible that my heart is becoming more capable and connected as a result of having that relationship. Big, soft breath. Is it possible that I can learn to love more deeply, more sincerely, more profoundly as I grow and learn from this relationship. Tap the top of the head. Even if I'm still processing, now we're going to name 3 negative feelings like humiliation or mistrust or sadness. Even if I'm still processing, and say those 3 feelings. Tap the eyebrows, still processing these feelings. Big deep breath, tuning into those same 3 feelings. Maybe it's humiliation, mistrust, and sadness. Tapping the temples, allowing this energy to come out of my body. Tap the cheeks. Processing, say those same 3 feelings again. I'm just going to use humiliation, mistrust, sadness. Tapping under the nose, breathe. I love and respect myself. Tapping under the lips, allowing my heart to heal and to complete this process now. Tapping the chest, allowing my heart to heal. Even if I have a lot more tapping to do, I'm off to a really good start. I'm getting my energy back, reconnecting to the source of love itself inside of me. Tapping the front of the ribs, teaching my body how to stay connected and centered in relationships. Tapping the side of the ribs, teaching my heart that my love is for giving and my heart is for keeping. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I love and respect myself. I'm allowing myself to completely recover my ability to be centered and loving in a relationship. Tapping the thumb, we're going to say it again. I'm allowing my heart to completely recover. Tapping the index finger. Big breath. Hang in there. We're almost done. Tapping the middle finger. Allowing my heart to stay centered in my chest while giving and receiving love in relationship to other people. Tapping the bottom of the 4th finger. It's safe for me to recover my ability to love. Tap the little finger to grow my ability to give and receive love. Tap the side of the hand. I'm allowing myself to heal my heart. Big deep breath. All right, so now tune in and notice how you feel when you think about the person that you are tapping on here in this session. And checking in with your heart, how do you feel? Does it feel like that relationship is more healed? Does it feel like maybe that relationship, the sting is more distant? Well, it may take more time to continue with this process to heal it completely. But hopefully this gave you a really good start and an example of what's possible in just a few minutes and how you can reorient yourself. And even if it was a very, very intense relationship and it went on for a long time, it's possible that in a matter of a few weeks, you can make substantial progress as long as you are willing to stay present to the truth of your feelings. And if you're having like surges of grief or surges of anger, you find yourself walking around your house, talking to yourself or talking to that person, if you'll tap any of these points in any random order and breathe and bring compassion to your experience, you'll notice that that feeling subsides very quickly, even within a few minutes or a few seconds, and you'll be able to refocus on what you're doing. So hopefully this tap helped all of y'all. And Brandon, I want to remind people that we have a love and relationships course in the Positive Heads page. So for people who are healing relationship patterns, because ultimately when you're done grieving or being angry and sad, what you really want to do is go in and be like, okay, so what happened? Where did I build this relationship from? And that is actually the substrata, so that you don't repeat the pattern with your next person.
Right. Yeah. Why don't, that was wonderful, by the way. Thank you, Sonya. It's such a powerful and simple way to sort of bring attention to these buried emotions and to bring them out, like you said, spring cleaning. It is such a great spring cleaning method, and you are such a wonderful maid. So,
thank you.
So, why don't you, as we wind down here, why don't you tell people where they can connect with with that particular set of taps and the other stuff that we've set up, for Positive Head listeners.
Sure. So my recommendations for putting your heart back together are to do two things. First thing is you go to worldtappingcircle.com/positivehead. And tapping is spelled with 2 P's, otherwise it's taping. worldtappingcircle.com/positivehead. And as you scroll down, you'll see an opportunity to join the World Tapping Circle at a remarkable discount. It's the only place on the internet where this discount's available. That's going to be a weekly pick-me-up where you're going to get access to a live tapping circle, very similar to what we just did. It lasts an hour. And if you can't do it live on Monday nights, you're going to be sent the replay video so that you'll have access to, and a reminder. It's like, come on, let's do the thing. It's going to make you feel better. It's kind of like your inner exercise workout buddy. So join the circle, but also get in there. On that same page, you'll see a course for love and relationships. It is 3 2-hour tapping sessions on where you got your relationship patterns from. One for your mom's side, one for your dad's side, and then one for you. And as you start to clean out the stuff that was there either before you were born or during your childhood, you'll stop repeating variations of those themes in your love relationships.
Cool.
So, that course is going to detox negative thoughts and feelings, help you connect your soul to your sexuality, and help you manifest divine partnership and start to really see what it is that you're choosing. And that's what that last piece is about. So I highly recommend those two things to help you get that inner work done and help you remember who you are, and also help you to grow to the next level, because hopefully each relationship experience you have builds on the last one, where you have better and better experience of love, because you're doing your work and you're choosing to stay positive, and you're using this as an opportunity to grow and evolve.
Yes, I think that's the silver lining in all of the difficulty with relationships. At least for me, I can see how, each relationship has been a progression from the past and the former, and, which makes sense as you continue to sort of do the work yourself and grow as a being. It's exciting to know maybe you have some hurt in the past, but look what's ahead of you, right? Looking forward is awfully exciting. So, I think that's a wonderful point. And this has been wonderful as always, Sonya. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and share your wisdom and downloads and tapping and all the beautiful things that you share with the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome, and I look forward to seeing you all in Circle.
Yes. And with that being said, I have a track to leave you guys with today. This is Tor, T-O-R, and the song is Sunyata. Hope you enjoy. Until next time, journey well. Love you all so much. Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to let you all know that we have finally created the Game with the Universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind, and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time by doing this manually. But now if you go to positivehead.com/YO universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to engage and invite friends, family, people on social media to check out the podcast as well. So be sure to check out positivehead.com/YOUNIVERSE and be sure to tell all your friends so they can play a game with the universe, which also helps the show to reach new people, which I greatly appreciate. And as a quick reminder, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them every day. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I can't stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so, and I'm sincerely excited to share it with all of you. Lastly, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
Sonya